Hey, it's Anthony with Land Title. I wanted to bring you our first to know update for Boulder County. And we are really seeing some dramatic changes because of this gloom and doom environment from our economists, right? Now, with the high price of money and with this looming recession that everyone keeps talking about, we've seen prices kind of fading since about April. This is the first month, though, where we've really seen the average sales price less than it was last year, but at the same time, that has a lot to read into it, right? So I don't want this to be a hugely negative thing because the composition of sales are changing and a lot is very different today than it was at this time last year, right? Interest rates were 3% this time last year, and here we are, they're nearly 7%, 6.5 or whatever it is on any given day right now. And we've seen prices really change because of that. So the only people really selling right now are people that have to sell, that need to sell. Lots of people are not, cashing that cash register like they were before and listing properties all over the board. So the medians come down quite a bit as well. But it's very apparent we've been chasing prices down since April. The real question is, what does that mean for the market, right? So let's take a look at it from a couple of other perspectives. You look at the condo townhouse market, it's been really strong, right? We're still 5% above where we were last year. This is probably much more indicative of where the market really truly is because the condo market doesn't have as much fluctuation in price over Boulder County because it's a more consistent product type, right? It's a more affordable product type in the most part. Some of those big mountains that you see in the middle there were a lot of really luxury attached product that came out in the city of Boulder that kind of swayed, what is happening in that market. But this is a really good sign for some health of the market. Now, if you get into average price per square foot, you can see we're right in line with where we were last year in the detached, in the condo. It looks like we're a little bit below, but like I said, this is the first month we've really seen that. It seems like we're bouncing around pretty well above where we were last year. So take that with a grain of salt this month in the condo market. The most important thing, though, especially that we need to articulate to our clients is what's going on in the inventory situation and how does that affect you, right? So this time of year, this is where even though we're in a rising inventory environment, things plateaued over the fall, and here we are into November where we generally see inventory falling, right? You see it every single year where inventory falls in November, inventory is going to fall into December because people might actually pull stuff off of the market if it's not going to sell. You just don't have a lot of buyers out there active, and you're really starting to feel that slowdown. But because of what's happening in the market and the rising inventory rates, new listing, they're just not coming on nearly as fast. We're 30% below where we were this time last year. People in Boulder County have the luxury to usually hit the pause button and not make rational decisions or irrational decisions if they don't want to, right? So they really have the ability because of, the price points and everything else here to where they can sit if they want. But you can see it's not super extreme. We're back to 2018 levels with the new listings. That being said, we're at 200 new listings coming on the market. What does that mean for what's happening? Well, actually, pendings went under contract more than new listings for the first time in 6 months. So that's a good sign, except we're 32% below where we were last year. So even though we have a lot of buyers shopping, and actually probably more buyers on the market than we had new listings, that is very difficult because that's not going to create any better situation for sellers, right? So if you're a buyer, November, December, into January even might be the right time to really get what we would call a deal on the market. 1.8 months of inventory is still in seller's market territory, but with the speed of things and what's going on in the market, it feels like buyers are finally starting to get an upper hand. And that's largely due to this next slide here. Our percentage close price to list price is at 98%. So it was at 97.8 last month. That was the lowest number since 2012. Now we're in 98%, which is much more normalized territory here. Still very similar to the markets we saw way pre-pandemic, right? You look here, this is like 2018, 2019 numbers. It might be even a little below that. So call it 2014 numbers maybe, right? So last time we had a market where inventory was rising and it was a little more competitive. The big difference though is that the average days in MLS right now are only 33 days, right? So it's active to under contract in a month. That's only, 6% above where it was last month. Expect that to rise quite a bit into December, I would assume. But last year we were only 20% or 27% below that. So fall markets are fall markets. Buyers aren't looking as much, but expect this to get into the 40-50 range before it starts to trend down again next year. You can see it's generally a horseshoe, right? The people don't shop as much in the off season, and then you get into that spring and summer market and things are moving very, very quickly. So like I said, biggest takeaways right now is if you're a buyer, this might be a really good time to go capitalize on this market before we get into a spring market where things are relatively fast again, right? They may not be as good as they were in 2021 or 2020 because those years were the anomaly, but expect something like 2018, 2019. I mean, that really could be where we kind of land, and we're going to start to trend that direction where, 40, 50 days in MLS, things are moving around pretty quickly. We'll probably hit 100% or so in the May season for our average listed sale price. So I mean, if we look at our crystal ball a little bit, hopefully those interest rates start to trend down next year, and it's going to create more of that buyer behavior and get back into like a 2019 style market. So if you have any other questions, I'm Anthony at Land Title. I have all the data for you for all the submarkets. You can always grab those off my YouTube channel or just reach out. Thanks. Have a wonderful day.